Imagine the world crumbling beneath you as you race down a dusty Tennessee road, your heart hammering like a war drum, your palms slick with sweat on the steering wheel, every ragged breath a prayer that your mom, your anchor, your everything, holds on just a little longer. That's where David Carter was one sweltering July morning in 2024, speeding his ailing mother, Clara, to the hospital, clutching hope like a fragile thread in a storm. What unfolded wasn't just a hospital trip, it was a heart-wrenching odyssey of devotion, desperation, and an act of kindness so staggering it'll stop you in your tracks. Hold on tight, because this story of a son's unbreakable love, a mother's fierce courage, and a stranger's compassion will seize your soul and keep you riveted until the very last word. In Willow Creek, Tennessee, where honeysuckle perfumes the air and cicadas sing through long summer evenings, life moves slow, like molasses dripping from a spoon. The town's a patchwork of clapboard houses, corner diners, and a single stoplight that blinks lazily. David Carter, 34, is as much a part of this place as the oak trees lining Main Street. He's an electrician, his hands rough from years of stripping wires, his smile warm enough to put anyone at ease. But his world, his entire universe, orbits around his mom, Clara, a 62-year-old retired schoolteacher whose laughter could melt the hardest heart. Clara's the soul of their little family, a single mom who raised David after his father vanished when he was 5, leaving behind nothing but a slammed door and a trail of broken promises. Clara was a force of nature, grading papers by lamplight, tutoring kids for pocket change, and still finding time to bake peach cobbler so divine it was practically a religious experience. She was David's superhero, no cape needed, just a flour-dusted apron and a heart vast enough to hold every dream he ever had. She'd skip her own dinner to make sure he had seconds, sew patches on his jeans when they couldn't afford new ones, and cheer louder than anyone when he walked across the high school stage, diploma in hand. Their life was stitched together with quiet, precious moments, dinners at Clara's little blue house on Maple Street, watching old westerns, her teasing him about settling down, him rolling his eyes but cherishing every word. Clara wasn't just his mom, she was his best friend, his compass, the voice calling him Davy with a warmth that felt like home. But that warmth was fading. A year ago, Clara's light began to dim. She was tired, always tired, her breath short, her cheeks hollowing out. David noticed the cough she dismissed as just a cold, the way she'd pause halfway up the stairs, waving off his worry with a frail smile. He pushed, pleaded, until she finally saw a doctor. The diagnosis was a gut punch, lung cancer, stage 3. Clara, who'd never smoked, who'd spent decades teaching kids to read and tending her rose garden, was now locked in a battle she never saw coming. The news shattered David, but Clara just squeezed his hand and said, "We'll get through this, Davy." He wanted to believe her, but fear was already clawing at his heart. July 2024 dawns heavy with humidity, the air thick enough to choke on. Clara's chemo has been a merciless thief, robbing her of her hair, her strength, the spark that made her Clara. She's a ghost of the woman who once danced around the kitchen, humming Patsy Cline, but she still tries to smile for David, even as coughs tear through her like a storm. That morning, though, the storm breaks. Her cough is jagged, relentless, a sound that slices through David's soul. Her skin is pale as moonlight, her hands trembling as she tries to sip water, the glass slipping from her grip. "I'm okay, Davy," she whispers, but her voice is a brittle thread, and David's heart screams that this is anything but okay. He scoops her up, her body so light it terrifies him, and carries her to his beat-up pickup truck, the one with a squeaky door and a dashboard etched with coffee stains and memories. The drive to Willow Creek General Hospital is a nightmare of silence, broken only by Clara's shallow breaths and David's whispered prayers, "Please, God, don't take her. Not her. Not now." His knuckles are white, his chest tight with a fear so raw it feels like drowning. The hospital is small, a community lifeline where nurses know your name and the waiting room smells of antiseptic and worn-out hope. David wheels Clara into the oncology wing, her frame sinking into the wheelchair like she's fading before his eyes. He's never felt so helpless, watching the woman who carried him through life now barely able to lift her head. Hours drag like years. Blood tests, scans, the endless wait for answers. David sits by Clara's side, holding her hand, his thumb tracing circles on her skin, a lifeline for them both. He cracks bad jokes, desperate to see her smile. "Ma, when you're better, we're eating cobbler for every meal," he says, his voice breaking. She laughs, a weak sound that turns into a cough, each one a dagger in his chest. Dr. Patel, Clara's oncologist, finally returns, his face etched with grim news. It's pneumonia, a brutal complication for a cancer patient. Clara needs to be admitted, possibly for weeks, with treatments costing thousands, tens of thousands. David's world spins out of control. His savings are nearly gone, bled dry by chemo bills. Clara's pension covers little more than her utilities. His electrician's paycheck, already stretched to breaking, can't bear this weight. The numbers swirl in his head, $8,000 a month for chemo, 20% not covered by insurance, now this. He feels the hospital walls closing in, the air too thick to breathe. How do you choose between saving your mom and keeping your life from collapsing? David and Clara are far from alone in this crucible. A 2023 Kaiser Family Foundation report paints a stark picture. 46% of Americans can't afford a $500 medical bill without spiraling into debt, let alone the catastrophic costs of cancer. Clara's chemo was already a financial guillotine, $8,000 a month, with insurance covering only 80%. David's been draining his savings, skipping meals to save a few bucks, working overtime until his hands tremble from exhaustion. But it's not enough. The hospital's billing office is a maze of cryptic forms and cold numbers, each call to the insurance company a soul-crushing loop of hold music and vague promises. David's no bureaucrat, he's a man who fixes wires, not one built for battling red tape. And Clara, too weak to even sit up some days, shouldn't have to carry the guilt of bankrupting her son. Yet she does, her eyes brimming with sorrow every time she sees him hunched over another bill, his face lined with worry. The emotional toll is a monster, clawing at them both. David's sleep is a casualty, his nights haunted by the rasp of Clara's cough, his days a blur of work and hospital visits. He's terrified of losing the woman who taught him to tie his shoes, who held him through his first heartbreak, who still slips a $20 bill into his pocket with a wink, like he's still her little boy. Every labored breath she takes feels like a countdown, a clock ticking toward a loss he can't fathom. Clara's fighting her own war, not just against cancer but against the crushing weight of being a burden. "I'm sorry, Davy," she whispers one night, her voice trembling, tears streaking her face. "I never wanted this for you." Those words are a knife, sharper than any medical bill, and David stumbles to the hospital parking lot, sobbing into the dark, wondering how love, fierce, boundless love, can't be enough to save her. Willow Creek isn't just a place, it's a family. When word of Clara's illness spreads, the town rallies. The ladies at First Baptist, where Clara sang in the choir, pass the hat at Sunday service, their prayers mingling with crumpled dollar bills. Miss Betty, who taught alongside Clara for 20 years, organizes a bake sale, her famous pecan pies selling out in hours. The local diner, Rusty's, puts a donation jar by the register, and even old Mr. Thompson, who grumbles about everything, slips in a $50 bill. By week's end, they've raised $2,000, a testament to Clara's impact, but a drop in the ocean of medical debt. David's humbled, tears pricking his eyes as he thanks them, but the numbers don't lie, it's barely enough for a month's bills. David throws himself into finding solutions. He sits with the hospital's financial aid office, but their assistance is a payment plan with monthly costs that would swallow his paycheck whole. He considers a second job, maybe driving for a rideshare app after his shifts. But he's already a ghost, worn thin by work and worry. He digs into charity programs, finding a 2022 American Cancer Society study that says patient assistance covers only 15% of cancer costs on average. It's something, but not enough to bridge the chasm. He even toys with selling his truck, his faithful companion since he was 22, its bed filled with memories of hauling tools and driving Clara to her garden club. But without it, how will he get to work or take her to appointments? Every path feels like a dead end, a cruel trap with no escape. Clara's condition worsens, the pneumonia digging in like a stubborn weed. Dr. Patel is candid, she needs time, rest, and aggressive treatment. But time is a currency David can't afford, each day piling on more debt, more dread. He sits by her bed, watching her sleep, her chest rising and falling unevenly, her face etched with pain even in rest. He's haunted by the thought that he's failing her, that all his love, all his fight, is slipping through his fingers like sand in an hourglass. He whispers to her sleeping form, "I'm trying, Ma. I'm trying so hard." But the hospital's fluorescent lights offer no answers, only a cold reminder of the battle they're losing. A week into Clara's hospital stay, David's at his breaking point. He's in the cafeteria, staring at a cold cup of coffee, his eyes burning from sleepless nights, his heart heavy with despair. A woman approaches, her blazer crisp but her eyes soft with empathy. "I'm Dr. Emily Rivera, hospital director," she says, her voice steady yet kind. David's confused, he's never met her, only glimpsed her name on hospital stationery. "Can we talk about your mom?" she asks. He follows her to her office, bracing for another lecture about unpaid bills, another twist of the knife. Instead, she closes the door and says words that shatter his world in the best way, "I'm covering Clara's hospital stay." All of it. David's breath catches, his heart stuttering. "What?" he chokes out, certain he's misheard. "Dar." Rivera's gaze is unwavering. The pneumonia treatment, the hospital stay, even a portion of her ongoing chemo costs, no charge. She explains, the hospital has a small, rarely used fund for critical cases, a mix of donations and her own discretionary budget, a program she's fought tooth and nail to preserve despite boardroom pushback. It's a lifeline almost unheard of, only 3% of U.S. hospitals have such programs, per a 2021 National Center for Health Statistics report. "Why us?" David asks, tears spilling over. Dr. Rivera's smile carries a shadow of grief. "I lost my mom to cancer when I was your age. I know that helplessness, that fear. If I can lift one weight from your shoulders, I will." David breaks, sobs racking his body, relief and gratitude crashing over him like a tidal wave. It's not just the money, it's the chance to breathe, to focus on Clara's fight instead of Bill's. It's hope, raw and radiant, handed to him when he thought all was lost. He stammers thanks, words tumbling out. Inadequate for a gift this monumental. Dr. Rivera's eyes glisten, and she says simply, "Go be with your mom." David stumbles back to Clara's room, his heart lighter than it's been in months, and sits by her side, holding her hand, whispering, "We're gonna be okay, Ma." For the first time, he believes it. It's August 2025, and Clara's still here, a warrior in a faded cardigan. The pneumonia's gone, and her cancer's retreating, not a cure, but a hard-won victory. She's back in her blue house, tending her roses, baking cobbler that fills the air with sweetness. Her laughter's softer now, but it's still a melody that soothes David's soul. He's by her side, cherishing every moment, every shared slice of pie, every evening spent watching the sunset from her porch. The financial burden's gone, but the true gift is time, time to love, to laugh, to live. David's changed, the anger and fear that once consumed him replaced by gratitude. He started volunteering at the hospital, guiding other families through the maze that nearly broke him, his voice steady as he shares their story. Willow Creek's changed too. Clara's fundraiser, sparked by the church, has grown into something bigger. David's poured his heart into it, organizing bake sales, car washes, even a town talent show where Miss Betty's rendition of Amazing Grace brought everyone to tears. They've raised thousands, not just for Clara but for others in town facing their own battles. The diner's donation jar is a fixture now, a symbol of a community that refuses to let anyone fall through the cracks. Dr. Rivera's act of kindness rippled outward, inspiring a town to hold each other closer, to fight harder, to love deeper. This isn't just a story about a hospital bill erased. It's about a son who'd tear the stars from the sky for his mom, a woman who faced death with grace and grit, and a stranger who chose compassion over bureaucracy. David and Clara's journey is a lighthouse in a world that can feel cold and fractured, a testament to the power of love and kindness to move mountains. Picture David, racing through the night, his heart in his throat, refusing to let go. Picture Clara, her hand in his, fighting for one more day. Picture Dr. Rivera, a woman who looked at their pain and said, "Not on my watch." What would you do in their shoes? Would you fight like David, love like Clara, give like Dr. Rivera? This story is a call to cling to hope, to believe that even in the darkest moments, a miracle might be waiting. It's a reminder that we're all connected, by love, by struggle, by the quiet courage of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. So, the next time you feel the world's weight on your shoulders, think of Willow Creek, where a son's devotion, a mother's strength, and a stranger's grace changed everything. If this story has woven itself into your heart, hit that subscribe button and dive into the next tale on your screen. Because stories like this, they're what make us human.